this does not end well. By far, one of the best cards in the entire collection. Some of these going to rebound, or some of these going to continue to go the wrong way.
Nobody runs trade nights like we run trade nights. Mr. Trevor Lawrence.
What are we doing?
Let's go! Yes, sir! Amazing. Try to bring that to the next generation, to bring it to other people, to hopefully inspire them. This is not possible without you.
All right, what's going on, YouTube? Card Collector 2 coming at you here with a brand new video. And today, we are back for a video unlike anything we've ever done on this channel. This will be a video I've actually really been looking forward to for 4 years now when I originally bought the collection. This video has been long overdue. Brian and I debated this at the 2-year mark, the 3-year mark, but here we are at 4 years later. And what better time to look back at one of the biggest collections I had ever purchased at the time, and still a really, really good size collection. So if you have not seen this, this video is on our YouTube page from September in 2020. This would have been as the market was on the rise during the COVID days, right before really what I believe to be the peak market over the last couple years. And I'll talk about where I got that data from, because when we looked up all of these cards for this video, it looks like a lot of the highs on some of these cards really are right around that February to March period in 2021. But this was a deal I made with a gentleman named Jacob over on Twitter. 8th Wonder Cards, I believe, is the Twitter username. Great guy. And he had posted about the lot back in the day that he was looking to sell the collection in entirety. It had Mike Trout and LeBron and some vintage, some Rodgers, some really key rookie cards at the time. And I was super, super intrigued by the collection. We went back and forth, agreed on a deal, and I flew out to Houston. This is before Brian, cameraman Brian, had started working here. Flew out to Houston, had a gentleman that lived in Texas meet up with us in Houston to kind of film the deal. It's definitely a little different than some of the content we put out now. Not, just back then that was kind of, what we were doing. But it was really, I believe, one of the first deals I ever traveled to purchase and film. It was definitely one of the biggest deals I had ever bought at the time. So it was really, really cool experience. And I told my wife at the time when I bought it, I wanted to keep the collection together for different reasons. Hey, wonder what this collection will look like later. So I had kept it in the exact same boxes that I had purchased the collection in. And today, I'm going to show you what some of these cards have done. And some of these will definitely surprise you. Some might not surprise you. Some of them you'll probably say, anybody could have saw this coming. At the time, it was different, and hindsight is 2020. But it is crazy what some of these cards have done, and we'll see. Are we up? Are we down? And I'm actually going to tell you at the end of this video. I'll tell you what I paid for it, what I think it's worth now. I'll show you what I think it's worth now, and I'll tell you what Jacob did with the money and how he made out. Because let me tell you, whether you think we won or lost on what we paid for this deal is irrelevant to us. At this point, I can't change the fact if we won or lost. It's, no point of, getting too in depth on that. We'll find out if we ever decide to move it. But there's a clear and obvious answer for what happened with Jacob, with what he did with the money. So I'm excited to tell you guys a little bit about that here at the end. So I've got these cards in order by, and I have a slideshow here with the data. Shout out to the folks at both the Market Movers app with Sports Card Investor and his team, and then the folks over at Card Ladder. This is not a paid promotional video at all, but those are the two price tools we used for this video, and those are the tools we used to kind of track some value. So Market Movers and Card Ladder were both used in coming up with some of this data. So again, you'll see a lot of different things in here. There's modern, vintage, there's base cards, literally base cards. There's a card in here that was worth $325 at one point that is now worth $4. There's a little bit of everything in this video. So excited to kind of show you this. But again, drop some comments. What do you think? Should we sell it all now? Should we keep it? Sell some, keep some? Some of these are really, really down, and some of these are really, really, really up. So very curious about those comments on what you would do with a collection like this. All right, starting off, we've got an 05 Rogers Topps Chrome. So I've got 3 data points on the slideshow here. Estimated sales around the time we purchased it. This would have been end of August, early September in 2020. Some of those sales might be from July if there's not a lot of comps. Some of them could have been the day before we bought it. A lot of things went into this, but we try to find comps around the end of August, early September in 2020. That's when the collection was purchased. Then I try to find peak value. And peak value doesn't mean the most this card has sold for since we purchased it. Because we're looking for when I think the collection was worth the most at one particular time, that is a specific date and time. We've got to find the time where most of the cards were worth the most amount of money. That's right around that February to March timeline. So for the sake of this argument, I found price points as close to the end of March in 2021 as possible. Some are slightly after, some are slightly before, some are on March 31st. But in general, as many of these comps as we used for that data was around March of 2021. So that's going to give us what we said was peak value. Now, if this card sold for $1,600 4 months later, that wasn't calculated. It was what is it selling for in March of 2021 when majority of these cards were at a record high. And then the most recent sale. So again, we try to comp these in the last 24 to 48 hours. Sometimes there hasn't been a comp in a month. Sometimes there's 5 comps in one day and they fluctuate. Again, trying to tell a story here, but not trying to push it one way or the other with a low comp, a high comp. Just went with ones that made the most sense based on the data that we saw between Card Ladder and market movers. First one's a Rogers 9.5 sale in August 10th of 2020, about a month before we bought this collection. $600 for 9.5. Peak value in March of 2021, $1,600. There was a sale on March 12th, 2021 on eBay for $1,600. The last sale, September 9th for 9.5, $500. And I'm not sure it would honestly do that same value again now. This is a min gem. It has a 9, couple 9.5s. The Jets they're terrible. They stink. They fired their coach. They changed offensive coordinators. They brought in Devontae Adams, and they lost to my 2-6 Patriots. That Jets team is not good, and Aaron Rodgers is the leader of that Jets team. Whether you think Aaron Rodgers is good, a Hall of Famer, anything like that, I'm not sure this card would get quite there. The Jets are not hot. Aaron Rodgers is not hot. $500 was nearly 2 months ago. Is it going to do that again? Hard to say, but the last comp, for the sake of this argument, was $500. Next card, 55 Clemente SGC 2.5. You'll probably notice a trend throughout this video that with the vintage in here, that was the stuff we did a little bit better on than some of these other cards. First sale around the time was around $834 on PWCC, now Fanatics Collect, July 15th of 2020. Peak value, $1,560 on November 15th in 21. Now there was a sale in the following summer in June that did $1,960, so it did get higher and higher. But the last sale on this one, $1,310. So was it $834? Got really high, almost to $2. Back down to $13. Still a win on a card like this. So we'll take that. Another one that we didn't do too bad on. Miggy Topps Chrome traded SGC 9. In May of 2020, so a little bit before we got this, there was a sale at $85. Peak value, listen to this, March 18th. $400, 5x what it was currently at, less than a year later. But the last sale we found was July 3rd at $170. I think there might be some other sales that are like near this, like other grades like 9.5s, PSA 8.5s, PSA 8s. Like there's probably other grades that are less, so it might not get quite to $170, but still not bad from $85. This one, there's some LeBron in here. That is rough. This is not one of those. Around when we bought this, there's a sale on September 1st when we bought this collection at $73. Not too bad, nothing crazy. In March of 21, there's a sale on PWCC at the end of March, the date I was looking for, at $183. Again, according to the Card Ladder graph, there's a sale at some point in 2021, looks like maybe shortly after that, over $200. But again, the value we're looking for on the date we were after was $183. The most recent sale, $60. October 18th, 24. So not up a ton, down actually about 18%, 17%, somewhere in there. But that is not the worst LeBron in this deal. There's more coming. Next up, you've got a Clayton Kershaw 2008 update rookie, one of the best pitchers I've gotten to see play. 9/2/2020. So it's September 2nd, right around when this collection was purchased. You got a $200 sale for 9.5. True gem. March of 2021 is when we're looking for. We found a sale on April 7th, 2021. April 7th. 1,000 USD. $1,000 for a Clayton Kershaw Topps update rookie on April 7th, 21. But the most recent sale we could find on here for this exact card, again, there's probably other variations, that SGC, that PSA, that BGS min grade, BGS 9. There's other things you might compare it to, but the last sale we could find June 2nd, $220. So barely up any, around 10%. But again, not down. And those are coming. Here's one of our more solid wins. On March 12th, on 2020, there was a sale in PWCC for this card, a 3.5, for $760 on a Willie Mays 53 Topps 3.5. March of 2021, a sale got to $28.80 on PWCC. Again, Fanatics Collect. At the time, it wasn't that. But that was February 14th, Valentine's Day, 2021. There's a sale at $28.80. Today's value, a sale in May of this year at $2,440. So over 3x what it was worth when we purchased it in 2020. Definitely one of the better wins. Not quite to that peak market, but definitely one you look at and be like, this is pretty good. So feel really good about that one. Now, two of the bigger wins in the entire collection. This is really a stretch of the best wins in this entire deal. Unfortunately, it is going to get worse from here. But you've got a 1939 play ball Ted Williams SGC2. At the time, probably a card I was not nearly as interested in nor concerned with. You know, I was getting some LeBron cards and an Aaron Rodgers Chrome rookie and Clayton Kershaw and, you know, some other stuff you'll see in here. But thankfully, this guy was in there. At the time, there was a sale October 13th, 2020. Again, a little bit after we purchased it, so we wouldn't have had this relevant data. But again, to be fair, we weren't probably as interested in it. There was a sale at $18.30 that year. March of 21 is, again, when we were after. There was a sale a little bit later in the year. We could find November 17th, $4,850. 2.5x what it originally did. But the last sale since then that we could find is up from that peak. October 5th, this month, 2024, $5,300 for an SGC2. By far one of the best cards in the entire collection. Went from $1,830 year of purchase to $5,300 4 years later. Definitely a solid ROI. Now again, these are condition sensitive, coloring, centering, marks, a lot of things go into this. So could be a little less, could be a little bit more. Won't argue semantics there, but definitely a win at that value. And probably one of the biggest, I would imagine, that's going to be hard to beat, that Ted Williams play ball, but this I think will be up there. In 2020, the sale we were looking for, that's when we purchased it. There was a sale from February 11th in 2019. So 18 months before we purchased this collection was the last two we could find. There's a sale at $21.40. Peak, a 2.5 in 23. So this would have been February of 23. So 4 years later, a 2.5. This is a 2. Again, there's not a lot of comps on this. A 2.5 got to $7,200. $7,200 for a 2.5. The last sale we could find was in July of this year for a 1.5, so going the other way, going down, at $37.75. So a major come up on something like this. Again, considering it is a 2, the last 1.5 did that. I think there's an authentic sale I could find that did like, I want to say like $1,800 for an authentic, which puts you pretty close to the value you got it in at originally. So definitely a big win here on a 38 Gaudy Joe DiMaggio. So two of the solid wins right there. Babe Ruth 48 leaf classic card. October 13th, 2019, there's a 1230 for a PSA 2. Again, this is a 1.5. Peak value, there was a sale on Golden in August of 22 at 3,300. Again, the tricky part in some of the vintage stuff is there's not everyday comps. Some of these cards are way more common and you see more often. So some of these, we're trying to paint a picture with 5 comps, right? 10 comps on a PSA 1.5. Just not quite that data. But in 2022, in August, there's a sale on Golden for 3,300 for a 1.5. But there was a sale this year as well for $2,500 on September 12th for a 1.5. So really strong sale there. And again, probably 2x the value we would have tried to, probably a little over 2x the value it would have been when we picked it up. One that we're not probably doing amazing on, but not as bad as some of the ones coming. Breeze, September 29th of 19. There's a PSA 9 that did $29.50. So you'd imagine at a time at a BGS 9.5, slightly above that, 3.2, 3.4. Hard to say, but north of that number. And listen to this. PSA 9, March 25th and 21, $42.50 for a PSA 9. So likely a card that gets you 4.7 to 5K. Really would have been a lot higher. The last sale on a 9.5, $25.50 according to Card Ladder on September 17th of this year. So if a PSA 9 was almost $3,000 back then, BGS 9.5's probably more than that. And the last sale was $25.50. So probably down 10 to 15% across the board on that one. Here we go. This is another fun one. 33 Gaudy Lou Gehrig. Around the time, there's a sale in June of 20 for $3,040. In 22, there was a sale on Heritage for $5,500. The most recent sale was actually relatively recently. There's a sale on Golden recently, $42.11. So again, not crazy, but that is, it's 40% up. I mean, 10, I think my math is around 40%. So definitely not a bad increase on something like that to go up $1,200 in a short period of time. And then you've got a 50 Bowman Jackie Robinson 1.5. Not a lot of BGS grades on this, or BVG grades on this, mostly PSA comps. The year we bought it, there was a sale in July at $356 for a PSA 1. Peak got to $1080 in May of 21 for a PSA 1. And the most recent sale in October of October 22nd of this year, you had an $813 comp. So over 2x the original value. Not quite to peak, but again, with what's coming, we'll take it. All right, here we go. Not as much variation on this. You got a Watt Contenders. Again, there's just not a lot of comps on these. The year we bought it, there was a raw one, $25. An SGC 9.5 just did almost $90. So not sure how much it's going to be off of that. I'm going to guess 50, so a nice little 2x on this. Again, these cards just don't pop up. I have 4 sales since 2024 on this card. Again, could have missed some, could have missed search, could have searched too specific. But again, not a card that you see very often. This is a Watt Contenders, numbered to 99. Same thing on this one right here. This is a Gronk Contenders. First sale around May of 19 we could find was $20. Peak in November of 21 got to $122 for a raw copy. And then in January of this year, one sold raw at $80. Now there's a blue version of this. Contenders in 2010 had variations like it does now. You have a blue and a white version. So there are other sales. And again, sometimes they don't have photos. So that data could be a little skewed on this, but either way, from $20 in May of 19, you definitely take it at that price. But the most recent comp we can find on this one was an $80 in this year. So 4x on a Gronk, number 99. Doesn't seem bad for one of the best tight ends to ever play. Man, I feel like we're showing you a lot of the good ones now, but understand what is coming is not nice. In August of 2020, you have a $290 sale on PWCC. May 17th and 21, 602 on PWCC and 700 in April on MySlabs in 2022. The last sale on this one, though, was in September of this year at $425, so up $150 or roughly 50% from original value. All right, into a little bit more modern here. We've got a trend coming. We've got a couple classics, and then we'll really get into the modern. And let me tell you, it's not as nice. July of 2020, you got a $449 comp on an Ichiro Chrome traded True Gem Plus. So you got 395s and a 10. I got to 449. In March of 29, right around that date we're after, you have a $1,036 sale. There's actually multiple comps above 1,200, but we took that date and time we were after. But the most recent sale on this is August 2nd at 676. There's other sales, not nearly as strong on lesser grades, so like 395s and a 9 in gem, but still up a little bit from original purchase price. Same thing with pool holes here, a little bit of the opposite and much more extreme. You've got August of 2020, right before we purchased this at 536 on Ichiro Chrome traded. Not as strong of grades. You got a 9 and 395, so you got that min gem. In March of 21, that's when we're after. March 15th of that year, 2550. 5x original purchase price. Most recent sale in October 22nd of this year, $482. So a fifth, down 80% from peak value and down 65 bucks, 12-15% from original purchase value. So going the wrong way. Don't worry, it gets worse. Unfortunately, this is one of those like crazy. There's a couple of them here. They're mostly on some of the icons. Brady is one, 9-3, September of 2020. So September 3rd of that year, there's a $4,500 sale on a Brady. March 13th, 2021, $11,000. According to the graph here, there are comps there's one over 12,000, but many over 10,000. The last sale on this, October 12th of this year, $3.2K, down $1,300 since purchase price and 75% since peak value. It has gone down $8,000 from that point in time. So definitely not one we've expected to go that way, but still one of the more classic rookies of Brady. So unfortunate to see, but that is the reality of it. The numbers don't lie on this one. 9/2/2020, right around purchase date. I think the video dropped on the 4th or 7th of September. You got a 374 sound on Jeter 8.5 SP, a classic Jeter rookie card. One that's hard to grade with a foil surface. This card chips really easy, hard to grade for sure. April 2nd, so right around that time we're after, 1165 in March of 21, or April of 21. The most recent sale, 10/23 of this year, $299. So down 75 bucks, over 20% of original value. This one is not as painful, but from the peak value. You got to 3.5K in August of 2020. In March, the end of March, right at that date we're looking for, $11,100 for Jordan 7.5 BGS. Again, there's PSAs, there's SGC, there's other BGS, there's condition. There's a lot of things that go into this, so I'm sure there's other data that says that these got higher or lower. Again, trying to use specific price points, but we got an $11,100 sale in March of 21. Most recent sale, October 27th of this year, $4,650. So up some, not quite where you'd want it to be, especially when it was at $11,000, but could be worse, and worse is coming. This one, August of 2020, $303 for a Unitas PSA 4. But in April, early April of 21, it got to $750 and is currently around $475 as of the end of the October this year. So up a good amount there, $175 on a $300 value, over 50%. We'll take that on a Unitas 4. Yikes. Not good. This is the Deshaun Watson Prism 2017 rookie card. The same year, Patrick Mahomes was a rookie, Christian McCaffrey was a rookie, Kamara was a rookie, TJ Watt was a rookie. Many other guys were rookies. This card was ginormous at the time. First round draft pick, pretty good couple early years, looked really, really good. When we bought it, there was a sale on September 2nd of 2020 at $200. March 15th of 2021, really what I believe to be one of the areas, probably the height of the market, there's a $325 comp on eBay. The last sale on October 26th of 2024, less than a week ago, was $4.25. $4.25. There's another sale at $5. Not good. Down $212, 97% change, according to the graph we've got here, from September 7th of 2020 to 10/22 of 24. That card has changed 97%, almost 98% in the wrong direction. Obviously, I don't need to speak to why this card would be not in a good spot, but this card, the magnetic, is worth more than the card is at this point, and I'm not sure that will change anytime soon. But you can see this is likely one of, if not the single worst card in the entire deal. $4.25 for that one. A little bit more of a positive note. Hank Aaron 54 Topps PSA 3. August 2020 was $23.50. April of 21 got to $3,500 and is currently around $26.95 as of October 24th of this year. So can't go wrong with that all-time classic card. Speaking of classics, but definitely one of the biggest losses in this one. 9/2/2020, September 2nd of 2020, right when we bought this collection, there's a sale at $5,000 on a LeBron James Topps Chrome 9. If you don't follow the market now, let me tell you, they are not anywhere near $5,000. Not at all. March 26th of 2021, there's a comp for $7,200. This card, according to our graph here, peaked over $10,000 at one point. The data I have for March 26th of 21, again, that time period I was after, was around $7,200. But there are comps well above that. There's some above, multiple comps above 8,000, some above 10,000. The last sale was October 27th, 2024, at $1,025. Not ideal, not good, down a ton. Will this card ever rebound? LeBron James Topps Chrome Rookie, a classic of one of the best basketball players to ever play the game. We'll see, but right now it is not showing any signs that it will get back to that point. But there's more coming, including this little stretch right here. I'm not sure there's a worse stretch in here than this. You got a Trout, $675 September 4th of that year, $885 April 1st of 21, $885. The most recent comp, $182.50 October of this year. All eBay comps. Their sales over $1,000 on this at one point. It is down under $200. Here's another Trout that's up. Definitely the biggest loss in this collection is going to be, well, I shouldn't say biggest. There's some LeBrons coming up that are rough. But this one right here, in June of 2020, the year we bought it, $895 on PWCC. There's a $2,000 sale on March 3rd, the year we're looking for those comps, March of 21. Most recent comp in early October this year was at $300. Over 50% of a decline from when we bought it, and over 75% off that original purchase or that original peak value in March of 21 on that Trout Bowman Chrome. So you got the draft, you got the Chrome Trout. Topps Finest doesn't get any better. $760 in August of 2020, $820 in March of 21. Last sale in September of this year is $160, down $600 value on that one. It is really bad for this card. Only solace on this is there's not one, but two. Great. $25.75 on My Slabs in August of 2020, right before we purchased this collection. This is $5,000 at that time. Peaked at $23.75 in March of 21, so it went down actually a little bit from purchase price. Most recent sale, October of 23, $500. $500 for two cards at one point that were worth 5 times that amount. It's hard to stomach this one. This is certainly one of the bigger losses. But $2,500. There's sales on this chart over $3,000. So this one has definitely seen its decline. A lot of sales early in this time period when we were buying this collection. Pretty consistently over $1,500 to $2,000. It happened to be around $2,500 at the time of purchase. But this card is down 80%. since that value. So unfortunately, not what we want to see, but we'll see what happens with Mike Trout. Don't worry, it's not done, unfortunately. 1900, the year we bought it, December 3rd, so a little after we purchased. But there's not a lot of sales on this card. This card does not pop up very often. Very few sales I can actually find for a BGS 9.5. December of 2020, 1900. April of 21 went down a little bit, 1562. Probably should have sold out then because in July of this year, it did $560. And I'm not sure it would get there on the next sale. Trout's market is not crazy by any stretch of the imagination. $560 in July of this year. So, again, according to the market movers, down over 70% in that time period. From 9/7 of 2020, which is the day the video is posted, to October 22nd of this year, the card is down 70.5%. Not good. Don't worry, we're not done. We've got some more. Nolan Ryan, rookie, PSA 4, actually is one of the ones we're not doing too bad on. 475 value in August of 2020. Got up to 1,500 at the end of March, right in that time period we were wanting. Got up to 1,500 on PWCC, and then recently finished on Golden Auctions on October 24th at 671. So not a bad change during that time period. Roughly 40% up. According to our chart here from September of 2020 through October of this year, a 39% change. Definitely one you can live with. All right, this will this does not end well. I just want to tell you guys this you've seen the wins on this deal. September 3rd of 2020, this was a $400 card, and in April of 2021, this Dirk Nowitzki Topps Chrome Rookie PSA 9 got to $565, and there are comps over $750 in the history of this card in that same 4-year period. The last sale was October 24th at $45. It's down 85% in that time period. Mantle, actually not terrible. August, right before we bought it, 380, got to 600 in March in that exact time period. It's March 28th of 21. Most recent comp was $400. Pretty consistent with Mantle. His stuff has been solid. Here's another one. Dirk Nowitzki. I'm sorry, we already showed the Dirk. Here's the Vince Carter. 98 Vince Carter Chrome PSA 9. Got the old PSA slab. September 3rd, 4 days before the video went live, there's a 150 comp on eBay. Got to 190 March 31st of 21, the date I was after. And 10/27 of this year on eBay, $22.50, roughly $4 to $5 more than the cost of grading for Vince Carter on the Topps Chrome Rookie. Don't worry, Tim Duncan is no better. How about an 88.7% loss on Tim Duncan, where on September 3rd of 2020, it was $305. Got to $550 on March 31st of 21. Has comps over $800 in the most recent comp. Is $31.20 on Fanatics Collect on 10/27. Down 88.7% on Tim Duncan. Unfortunately, Kobe is no better. 85.8% of a loss, according to our market movers chart here. 1102 on August of 2020, right before we bought this. Got up to 1125 in March of 21. Has comps over 1.3K multiple times. And the last sale on October 28th of this year was $130 on Kobe, on Topps, on one of the best to ever play the game, but it is down 85%. My guy just got a statue in Miami, and his card's down over 90%. D-Wade was $500 for a PSA 9 on September 3rd of 2020. Has comps over 800, got to 700 on March 31st. That date we're after, once again, March 31st of 2021, got to 700. The most recent sale on PWCC, Fanatics Collect. It is Fanatics Collect now. October 27th, really, really recent. $27.60. $27.60. $8 to $10 above the current price of grading. It is down $343 in that time period, and it has dropped 91%. There's also a comp at $33.50 recently, but unfortunately, that doesn't make it any better. one that you're not, definitely not excited that something's gone down. That would be silly, but if it's going to drop, it's a card like this. Again, I would not want to move this anyways. This is a card I enjoy and I think is a fun one long term with just who's on it. But the data is not kind to us. Almost a 50% drop. August 31st of 2020, right before we bought it, $12.50 was on this one. $29.50, there's a comp on March 30th in 21. Most recent comp, $7.07. 41%, $483 since original purchase. This one is also rough. $4.61 September 1st of 2020 on a Peyton Manning Bowman Chrome rookie. One of the best rookies, of one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. You got a BGS 9.5. That's a true gem. All 4 subs are 9.5. Fanatics Collect Sale 21, which would have been, again, PWCC at the time. I don't mean to keep intertwining them. Fanatics, I don't know the exact date Fanatics bought PWCC, but growing up, it was PWCC. Now it is Fanatics Collect. But in 21, in April of 21, right after the date after, there's a 407 sale, so a little bit of a decline there. But the most recent sale is $108 this October. This is one of, if not the worst stretch in the entire deal. 4 cards, all 4 LeBron, all 4 Topps Chrome base, all PSA 9, and they are all bad. Not good. 8/24, August 24th. Of the year we bought it, $562. In March of 21, got to $725. Has comps over $1,200 during this run, and is currently worth $31 according to the last sale. There's another one at $41. It's down over 90%. Another one of LeBron, $245 on September 2nd in 2020. There's a $320 comp the day before I was after. Again, that's March 30th of 21, $330. There's a sale on eBay, some of the last couple sales. There's a $75 sale in early October, but the most recent one I could find, when we updated some of our numbers, was $42. Pretty crazy drop on a LeBron Topps Chrome base. Got to $320, down under $40 now. Here's another one, 75% down. LeBron Topps Chrome base from 05, so it's like third year for LeBron. August of 2020, $140. There's a April 4th sale in 2021 at $500. There's comps above $600 pretty consistently. The most recent sale, October 4th, 2024, $42.99. 75% drop, $136 on a LeBron Topps Chrome base, but we've got one more. Almost 50%, not nearly as bad as some of the others because the chalk toss, $425 was the value 4 days before this video got posted, originally in September of 2020. There's a PWCC Fanatic sale for $772, March 31st of 2021, and the most recent comp is $92 on 10/27. Not good. Last card in this deal. $147 on Pristine Auction in August of 2020. The Montana for a 7.5. This is a 7, but again, I'm trying to find something comparable. There wasn't a 7 sale. A 7.5 got to $300 on April of 2021. Most recent sale is $160 for a 7 on October 20th. So a 9% increase, 9.5% increase. So that is the last card. $41,000 was the purchase price. I spoke to Jacob about it. We agreed to keep it private at the time. I've since spoken to him about it. $41,000 was the purchase price. Around the time, the current value at the time was around $47,600, give or take. Again, could have been calculated differently. I don't have all of the data from when I bought it originally, but the current data we can find shows it would have been worth somewhere around $47,000, $48,000 at the time. If you take the numbers I have on this sheet for around March of 21, now some of them are going to be August of that year because that was the only comp we could find that year. But if you take the data points we have for that peak value, again, not the most any card was worth at one time, but as many of them as close to March 2021, March 31st, 2021, the peak value was $92,000. Yikes. Last sales, you take the data we have there. Again, there's some of these cards have 50 sales, some have 1 over 2 years. Very different. The last sales are around $42,000, roughly little over a 12% drop in value since we purchased the collection in 2020. That is where it lands. Now, there's some positive to this news. The reason my friend Jacob at the time, Eighth Wonder, decided to sell, and this was actually what made it cool, this is what made it special, this is why I wanted to track this. He purchased a beach house somewhere in the Gulf of, somewhere on the coast down there in Texas. I think it was in the Gulf of Mexico. He purchased a beach house, used the money either on the down payment or the renovations. I don't remember which. And Jacob and I were talking about this. I told him this video was coming. And Jacob was like, totally don't mind if you share the purchase price. Doesn't bother me. Appreciate you asking. If you want, you could also let them know. I ended up selling the beach house I bought with the money from this deal. We actually don't own it. We sold it, but we were able to make $80,000 on the house that we sold on the beach. So while this collection is down 12%, my guy Jacob did not lose. So for that, it makes it a fun little story to tell. He bought a beach house. He sold it, made $80,000. I got these cards, still have them. Question is, what should we do now? You've got all these cards in here. You've got some LeBron base worth 30 to 50 bucks. Some really nice key vintage cards worth a lot more than they were worth then. That are worth way more now. We keep them. We sell them. Keep the deal for another 4 years, 6 years, do a 10-year reunion. Another year's 5 years. What do you guys think? Drop those comments down below. I would want to know what you guys think you would do with this collection in today's market. Some of these going to rebound, or some of these going to continue to go the wrong way? Trout, Jordan, Brady, up, down? Where do you think they're headed? But I know it's a lengthier video. Wanted to do something a little different here. I know we've not done something like this, but when I kept this collection together, this was the point of that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Drop those comments down below. Let me know your thoughts. But for now, guys, that is all I got. Peace, guys.